Hey everyone, it's Aesah, and welcome to my video for Vex Exotech. I wasn't entirely sure what to call this comp, but I'm just going to focus on the main variation, using Vex as a primary carry played with Exotech. So the most common variation that you'll be playing without legendaries revolves around these 3 Divinity units, and then 5 Exotech on level 8. Mordekaiser will give you Bruiser, Jin will give you Dynamo, and then um, very important since Vex is your carry. Varus will give you Executioner. This is kind of like your core that you're going to be playing pretty much every game in this particular variation. Um, if you have a good 5 Exotech item, Sejuani is just a really good unit to have, and then Jax, of course, is a natural trait pair with Sejuani. So this is kind of the standard board. A lot of times Sejuani is really contested, so you don't have to have exactly this board. You could just use like 2 more Divinity Core units instead here. A lot of legendaries also slot in easily. For example, if you hit like Viego, you'll have Techie activated for free. Aurora will give you Dynamo. Garen and Zac are just kind of good in a lot of cases. And Urgot, of course, will make you go up in Executioner as well. So all the legendaries can kind of slot in pretty easily on this board, but otherwise it's just Jax and Sejuani. I would say the main condition for playing this comp is not having Flux Capacitor, which is kind of funny because last patch Flux Capacitor was kind of considered the best Exotech item, but it's really the only one that isn't very good in this comp. If you have Pulse, it can go on Jin, and Hyperfangs can go on Jin or Varus, either one, and Hollow Bow you really want on Varus. Vex really wants blue buff. She's a 30 mana unit, so compared to even a unit like Veigar, who's being a 40 mana unit, blue is even more important on Vex. Same thing with Annie, right? Like Annie and Veigar are both 40 mana units, and blue is very impactful on them. But Vex being 30, it's way more important. Basically 3 outs to cast all the way down to 2, compared to 4 going down to 3 is a 50% increase instead of a 33% increase on these other units, right? Who is already really good on. So blue's really important. Other than that, Vex has an interesting ability where overhealing, if she's full health, is converted to bonus damage. So Gunblade is just really efficient on this unit. Normally, a lot of times you're Gunblade on the backliner, you're not getting value from the 18% Omni Vamp a lot of times, but Vex actually gets extra value from it. Because she can crit, Guardbreaker is really efficient, and you will get about 20 AP from Morgana's Dynamo bonus, which is doubled. But Vex doesn't have that much AP, so just raw AP items are going to be really good as well. So Archangel, Deathcap, or again like Guardbreaker because you can already crit with Executioner, so you get a little bit of benefit there. You can also go Nashers or Shojin if needed. It's not too important. I would say blue buff is the only really important item. Other than that, you can kind of go whatever. Varus is best in slot Shojin, so this is already 3 tiers. Kind of hard to get. You don't have to have these items exactly. Um, but yeah, I would say Hollow Bow is a lot better than the other options in this comp. Um, the best tank one is a shielding one, but I wouldn't worry about those too much. Hollow Bow is going to be the best backline item, and next patch this is going to be nerfed to not stack with itself, but it's not going to affect this comp because Varus doesn't actually cast it off it. It's only going to affect Zeri. But yeah, still going to be really good here. So yeah, you could just go anti-heal is going to be really good. And for frontline items, ideally you use Sejuani 2 as your main tank. If you only have Sejuani 1 and Mordekaiser 2, honestly I'd probably still use Sejuani either way. Uh yeah, a level 9, like we talked about earlier, you can slot in quite a few different legendaries. Viego and Techie or Aurora for more Dynamo are kind of natural adds. If your 5 Exotech is not super important, let's say for example it's a tank item, and then you can replace that with a tank item off the lake in Carousel, you can drop some of these Exotech units. For example, Jax and Jig can kind of be dropped together. Like Aurora will replace Dynamo, that the Jin was giving you, and Renekton will replace the Bastion that the Jax was giving you, and you still get a clean 3 Exotech here. It doesn't have to be exactly super clean. For example, like even if you don't have Renekton, if you hit Aurora 2, you can replace Jin immediately. And just play 4 out of 3 Exotech, again, if your item is not super important. And that's kind of just going to be a judgment call. Typically, you'll want to do that if you have another item that you can replace it with. Some other variants with Vex carry that I briefly want to mention. This is kind of like the main core playing with Varus as your duo carry, but you could also kind of play in the Vex in the Street Demon comp. This is kind of just like an underutilized carry, I guess, as a 4 cost. I think a lot of people overlook her. But the normal Street Demon board, a lot of people are playing, looks something. Where's Nico? So like maybe like something kind of like this. There's 2 Nikos in here. But instead of playing some of these units, like for example, you could use Ziggs, or sorry, you could use Vex instead of Ziggs, and then you could use Rengar to get Executioner while still being a Street Demon in here. So you could use stuff like this, and use Vex in this line as well. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but just be aware that Vex only really needs 2 Executioner, and she could definitely be a formidable backliner. That's going to wrap up on this video for Vex Exotech. If you have any comments or questions, let me know in the Discord, and thanks for watching.